What up, YouTube fam? It's April G. Showers back at y'all with a reaction. So, I debated whether or not to even do any reactions today um, due to DMX passing away, unfortunately. Um, Rest in peace to DMX and prayers to all of his loved ones. It's a great, great, great loss for hip hop. DMX is a legend, one of the GOATs. Um, I don't have all of his albums, but I've got, I think, 4 of his albums, 3 or 4. Um, Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, and stop, drop, come on, man, and what you bitches want from a tell me what you want from me. With him and Cisco, that was my sheesh. So yeah, so many songs, so many great songs. So I debated whether or not I was going to do any reactions or any videos at all today due to the circumstances. I did do a reaction as y'all requested and as y'all voted on Twitter and on here on YouTube. I did do a reaction to Grizzy Hendrix's diss, 11.5-minute diss to Screw, and I'm not gonna drop it just yet. I just don't think right now is a good time to drop a reaction to a diss track. It just don't feel right to do that. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna drop it just yet, but I'll drop it soon. So y'all could just be on the lookout for that. But So what we're gonna watch is, as most of you know, I'm in recovery. I will celebrate 10 years clean on August the 8th this year. As most of you know, I lost my big brother to cirrhosis of the liver related to alcoholism in 2018. So I have been on both sides, unfortunately. So while it's very sad and we are all mourning and grieving and depressed, one thing we can rejoice in is knowing that DMX was saved. He believed in God. We know that. So we know that he doesn't have to struggle with that anymore. And as badly as we want him here, especially his close family and friends, God needed him up there, he was just 50 years old, so it's just sad. It's just sad, but since I have experience with addiction, I've experienced with losing a loved one to addiction, and I have experience with recovery, I thought I'd do a video about that. I found a video of Eminem and Royce the 5'9" talking about their recovery that we're going to watch. This will be a longer reaction, and I'm going to talk to y'all some about my experience with it as well, and maybe this video will help somebody that may be struggling with addiction, with alcoholism, with depression, mental illness of any kind, and just help somebody. If it helps just one person, That's all I care, man. And I don't, obviously I didn't know DMX personally. But if you are an addict, and especially if you're an addict in recovery, you will understand when I say this. I know that DMX will want people to educate themselves on addiction and somehow find hope that recovery is possible. You know what I'm saying? So with that, yeah. Not sure what channel the Eminem Royce to 59 videos from, but I'll check it before we watch it. April G Squad, Miss Funk, love y'all. Let's get it. Again, I am using my older software because I know this is going to be a longer reaction, and this software uploads a lot faster than the other one. Okay. I can feel his emotion. My addiction started with weed. Um, I am a school shooting survivor where at 15 I saw my best friend get shot and killed in school back in 1995 here in Tennessee. By 16 I was smoking weed daily. I drink alcohol like on the weekend. If we go out to party or whatever, you know how it is in high school. And but I never really liked alcohol like that. Had a lot of alcoholics in my family, so I grew up watching what it does. You know what I'm saying? And so I always kind of just hated alcohol, but I drank here and there. You know, I could count on one hand how many times I've ever been drunk in my whole life. But I loved weed. Now, personally, if it's just straight up weed, I don't see anything wrong with weed. I'll be honest with y'all. However, it is still illegal here in Tennessee, so that means that's a no-go. You know what I mean? I do believe, you know, it serves a lot of medical purposes. I know it does, as a matter of fact. I had patients that were prescribed Marinol, which is pretty much like a little liquid gel pill with THC in it to help stimulate their appetite, or if they had glaucoma, it helped with their glaucoma, which is pressure in the eye or eyes. Helps with cancer patients with their glaucoma. Some people say it helps with their anxiety. However, chronic marijuana smoking, if you smoke it like all the time, it actually causes anxiety. I know that because I began having panic attacks when I was 20. So I thought I was dying. I didn't know what was going on. But it turned out to be chronic, really bad panic attacks. I think that stemmed from me having PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from being a survivor of a school shooting and seeing what I saw, as well as me smoking weed every single day. You know what I mean? I smoked it every single day for 10 years. You know, I might have skipped a day or two here and there, but for the most part, I smoked it every day. And I didn't want no joints. It had to be blunts. You know what I'm saying? But these days, like, people will lace shit with shit. So I just don't trust people like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? You know, now if you're getting it from, you know, if it's a prescription or whatever, that's one thing. But to get it off the streets, just for me, call me old, call me whatever you want, I just don't think it's safe to get that or anything really off the streets anymore. Not that it was ever safe to buy drugs off the streets to begin with. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, back then I didn't have to worry about my weed being laced with fentanyl or, you know, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was just never wasn't even a thought. Wasn't in the news. It wasn't in, you know what I'm saying? Like it is nowadays. So, yeah. But mine started with weed, but my drug of choice ended up being pain pills. So he's, for those, if you forgot what he was talking about, I do have to throw in my own comments and stuff like that, y'all, and pause it and talk and stuff like that. If we just watched the videos the whole way through, I could, you know, get a copyright strike. Or just a strike, whatever, you know, or whatever you want to call it. I could get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, I have to add my own content to the content that we're watching. You know what I'm saying? But for those who forgot, he was talking about he was 14 and he was with this guy that he looked up to as a brother, because he never had nobody. He was in and out. He said he was in and out of institutions from the time he was 7 years old on up, which God love his soul. That's terrible. And he was with this guy that he looked up to, the guy that introduced him to hip hop, and all of a sudden the guy sparks up a blunt, and that's where I paused it. And he started getting, you can see, look y'all, where I paused it there. He's in the praying. He's praying. That is crazy. That lets me know I'm doing the right video. Thank you, Lord. But anyway, he's getting very emotional about it. If you can't see that. What was I just saying? And that was 30 years ago. 14, 24, 34, 44. That was almost 40 years ago, y'all. 35, 40 years ago. Is someone he trusted and looked up to. Someone he trusted and looked up to. Laced a blunt of weed with crack. Now, crack is one drug I never did. I never did crack. I've never done meth. Believe it or not. I know my teeth, my bottom teeth, say otherwise. But those are two drugs that I never did. I've never done heroin either. I've never done shrooms. I've never done acid. but I've probably done everything else. But no, I've never done K, ketamine, or bath salts, or none of that shit. Synthetic weed, none of that. But it was somebody he trusted, or he thought he could trust. He's 14, my son's age. And that's bad enough. He's 14, thinking he's about to get high off some weed. But to be 14, and not only are you getting high for the first time off weed, but crack as well, and it's someone, an adult that you looked up to as like family that gave it to you. And I have been told, as I said, I've never done crack, but I've been told that all it takes is one hit and you're addicted. That's what I've been told. Now, I don't know that to be true, but several people in rehab, when I went to rehab back in 2011, I was in rehab for 3 months. Several people that were addicted to either crack or meth said that they were addicted in one hit. Same with heroin. So I don't know if any of y'all are in recovery or whatever that are watching this, if that's true, or if that's not true, or if you have experience with that, whatever, and you feel comfortable, let me know in the comments if that's true. You can tell how much it really hurts him. And you know, he probably would think back, like, what if that had never happened? You know? Let's say my first time I ever heard hip hop, I was 11, I think. I was either 11 or 12. And my big brother, the one that I lost in 2018, to alcoholism, which is addiction, because alcohol is a drug. It is, period. He bought me a Snoop Dogg Doggy Style cassette tape. And other than Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, that's the first true hip hop I've heard. And then after that was Tupac, was the next one. And then it just kept going and going. And I always paid, me being a writer, because I'm a writer and I rap what I write. I've been writing my whole life. I've only been rapping for like a year and 3 months or something like that, since last January 2020. But I mean, other than rapping along the songs, y'all know what I'm saying. But I've been writing my whole life. And anyway, I'm gonna let him talk. But yeah, I feel what he's saying. That's the first hip hop I heard. That's what I was talking about. Sorry, y'all. My brain, I'm telling y'all. Y'all can go back. He said that is actually the biggest problem, not addiction. Y'all can go back. You can stop the video right now and go watch my reaction to How Could You Leave Us by NF. Y'all could go to my playlist called My Poetry / Raps / Remixes. And anything else that I've reacted, Wishing Well by Juice WRLD, anything I've ever reacted to that has to do with addiction, alcoholism, recovery, things like that, I always say the alcohol, the drugs are not the problem. The alcohol and the drugs are a solution, or so we think, to our problem. And the real problem is this right here, our minds. Learning healthy coping skills with how to cope with life when bad shit happens. You know what I'm saying? Changing your thought process, which is very difficult because we do have the power to choose one thought over another. Now, we don't have power over stuff, certain thoughts that pop in our head, but we do have power over what we do with those thoughts. Do we dwell on them or let them go, or you know what I mean? Same here. I self-medicated. I was in a school shooting, never got therapy. Nobody ever talked to me about it. Nobody ever asked me if I was okay. And it ain't nobody's fault. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I'm just saying, school shootings didn't happen back then like they do now. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But I started self-medicating to not have to feel or deal with the pain and the grief and the anger and the sadness and all that shit that was inside of me. I didn't want to have to deal with it. I could tell he's been to rehab and probably 12-step meetings as well. God bless him. Eminem and Royce to 5'9" talk about addiction and overcoming it. I'm going to go ahead and like it so I don't forget. I know I'll like it. I don't know I wouldn't like it. Come on, bro.
I was in a pretty dark place, for the last few years. A typical day, like as far as like work or anything.
That said this was uploaded in September of last year, but I don't think so. This was uploaded. This is 2021, probably at least 5 or 10 years ago at the most. Yeah, this was uploaded on September the 7th, 2020. But I don't think that's not when. Yeah. And the name of this channel is We Talk Hip Hop. I did subscribe. Again, the link to this video and the other one we just heard. The links to those will be down in the description box, y'all. So please click on them and go subscribe and all that good stuff. Okay. Now we're gonna watch my head spin.
Like that, like I was always working. At the time in 2005 when I ended up in rehab, I had to while I was in there, I really had to reassess, go back and just evaluate and just reassess things and slow down. When I came out of rehab, I was clean for I think 3 weeks total. I only stayed in rehab for 2 weeks because when I went to rehab, it felt like everyone else was ready for me to go, but I wasn't ready myself. So I stayed for 2 weeks. I detoxed. I tried to work the program, and I tried, but everything they were saying, I kind of in the back of my mind, I knew man, once I get out of here, I'm going right back to what I was doing. You know what I mean? I kind of there was a little.
Just a little fun fact. 98% of addicts relapse within the first 3 years. 98%. And only 1 in 4 make it. Stay clean and pass away clean, sober, whatever you want to call it.
Little devil up in there telling me that that's what was going to happen. And when I came
Yep.
home, I was like 2 weeks in rehab and a week home, I think maybe a week home, I started taking Vicodin again and still trying to like.
That was my drug of choice, Vicodin. We call it Lortab. Same thing. It's the exact same drug. Vicodin, Lortab, Lorcet, uh, Norco. All of that is the exact same drug. Vicodin, Lortab, Lorcet, Norco. All the same drug. Every That's just brand names. All those are just brand names, which means the company that made them. The drug is hydrocodone. A lot of people get that mixed up with codeine. That's two separate drugs. Codeine, Codeine, is the crap that you get in what was that? Like cough syrup. You know what I'm saying? Lean is liquid codeine. Uh, these days too, they've started drinking liquid promethazine or Phenergan, which isn't a narcotic at all. Phenergan or promethazine is actually an antihistamine, but it's almost always, I've never seen it prescribed for anything else other than nausea and or vomiting. So yeah, I'm just thinking, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm extremely exhausted. I didn't sleep at all last night, like not at all, not 1 second. I dozed off earlier this afternoon for maybe 15 minutes. So I've literally been up since like 4 o'clock yesterday morning. What is today? Friday. So 4 o'clock yesterday morning. I don't even know what time it is now. Hush, Grace. That's Mama. Grace. Sorry, y'all. It's my dog. It's 6:40 p.m. So I've been up 24, 36, 37, almost 39 hours. And that's nothing unusual for me. I do have chronic insomnia, which is related to the PTSD. But it does suck. And now that I have this stupid heart condition and this stupid staph infection and all these other complications, medical complications, I'm not as alert and able to focus and concentrate and stuff like that as I used to be when I get really tired like this, you know. And it's really, really frustrating, and I freaking hate it. Absolutely hate it. So I apologize to y'all, for that. Um, but it's something I can't help. You know what I'm saying? I can't take sleeping pills. So obviously can't take pain pills. So yeah, I'm sorry that my dog is going crazy, y'all. All right, let's finish listening to Eminem.
Like, I think at that point in time, I still felt like I was kind of like, I can juggle this, I can do this, I can take it, today.
And that's one thing. That's the problem we all have is addicts. The root of addiction, the the root of addiction, the root of alcoholism. If I say addiction, just know that includes alcoholism. Because again, alcohol is a drug. Now, the root of addiction is selfishness and self-centeredness. That is the root. And, ego, pride, that's why a lot of people's rock bottoms is death, unfortunately, because their pride, their ego, the feelings of guilt and shame won't let them reach out for help or admit they need help, And I'm so freaking grateful that I finally just said, to hell with it, and talked to my family. And I was still working full time as a nurse at the time. I just called my job. My job had no idea that I was addicted. I just called my job and told them I wouldn't be there for a while. I was going to rehab. And then when I got out of rehab 3 months later, I kept the same job. I still had the same job, nursing in a psychiatric unit. And I did 6 weeks of IOP, which is intensive outpatient therapy. Gracie, hush, that is Mama. I'm recording. I am so sorry, y'all. But anyway, I don't know why she does stuff like that when I'm recording. Knowing Gracie's in here. So, anyway, I apologize, y'all.
Hey, and maybe tomorrow I won't. When I was doing the 8 Mile movie,
But what I was saying is, we think in our heads, oh, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got it. Obviously, April, you don't have it, you dumb bitch, or you wouldn't be taking 40 to 60 pain pills a day. Now you don't got it. Stupid. True strength is the ability to admit your weaknesses and your flaws. That is true strength. Never forget that.
that's when I kind of first got introduced to Ambien. And the schedule that
I used to take Ambien too. It's a sleeping pill. It's used for sleep. I never was addicted to Ambien though, but I know Eminem got addicted to Ambien. And that's dangerous to mix Ambien and Vicodin. Lord's having that. Oh, going back to that. There's a difference in codeine and hydrocodone. They're 2 different drugs. There's codeine, hydrocodone, oxycodone. And oxycodone comes in Oxycontin, Percocet, Roxycontin. People call it Roxy for short. And all that. Stop. That is Mama. Now hush. I apologize, y'all. And so, anyway, 3 different drugs, all 3 opiates, all 3 narcotics, but different classes. Now, hydrocodone and oxycodone are in the same class, but codeine is in a class lower than them. Well, class high. Anyway, you can study up on what different classes of narcotics mean and stuff. If the higher the number, the lower. Anyway, you could look that up. You can Google that.
That we were on, we were working like 16-hour days, and we'd have this little like 6-hour window to go home and go to sleep. And it was an hour drive from the set and an hour drive back. So what's that mean? I have 4 hours to get some sleep. So I got introduced to Ambien on the set of 8 Mile, and I got into the habit of taking it every single night. By the time the movie was wrapped, went on tour. Now I need it every night after a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it got to where I became dependent on the sleep medications. And then there was like it's a real blurry line, like if I actually had a problem with alcohol or I didn't. And I think that if I never had drugs if I never had pills to fall back on, I would have had a full-blown, I'd have been a full-blown alcoholic. It's a character that I've created on this record, and I don't think it's no different than, at least I don't feel like it's any different than a character in a movie, or South Park, what they do in South Park, or Family Guy. Like, I don't feel like it's not much different than that. At the end of the day, I'm an artist, and this is my art. You know what I mean? Like, as fucked up as it may seem, or people may think it is, or as ridiculous as these thoughts may be, I think that, I'm an artist, and it's kind of like almost just making a painting. And if the painting is fucked up, it's fucked up. But this is how I was feeling this day. You're taking things that people are giving you that you don't even know what the fuck they are.
Yep.
They look like a pill, and they're shaped like something that you take, so you take it,
That is what I can say I didn't do, being a nurse. I became a nurse when I was just 20 years old. So I learned, I would never ever take a pill without, if I couldn't look at the pill and tell what the pill was, then I would look it up, or I wouldn't take it. I learned that the hard way, though, because I took a pill somebody gave me one night. They told me it was Percocet. Well, at that time, it was called Oxycontin, but we call them OCs. OC for short. They told me it was an OC, and they told me it was OC20, and so it looked just like it. And then I took it because I swallowed the pills. I never snorted them or shot them up or anything like that. I always just swallowed them. I didn't chew them up or anything like that. I just swallowed them. As soon as I swallowed it, my friend was like, "Oh, no, I gave you the wrong one." What? What do you mean you gave me the wrong one? And she had given me morphine. Hush! I'm sorry, y'all. She had given me morphine instead of oxycodone or Oxycontin or OC. And so, Gracie? And so, that's how I found out I am allergic to morphine. And I ended up in the hospital that night off of just one pill that I took, that I trusted my friend, saying that that's what that was. And yeah, I could have died. And I found out I'm allergic to morphine that way. So yeah, I never did that again.
Xanax, Valium, tomato. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's all in the same family. Fuck it. Take it.
Yep. Xanax, Valium, Ativan, and Klonopin are the 4 benzodiazepines commonly prescribed for anxiety.
Got to the hospital about 2 hours later. I would have died. My organs were shutting down. My liver, kidneys, everything.
He's talking about when he overdosed. I'm going to rewind it so y'all can hear it. Gracie, I am recording. Hush. I'm so sorry, y'all. Anyway, his song Arose, that's on his Revival album, he talks about his overdose and tells the story of it brilliantly. If you have never heard that song, you need to start with the song Castle first, and then it leads into the song A Rose. It's all one story, Castle and A Rose. I reacted to both of those on my channel. I have an Eminem reactions playlist here on my channel. So, yeah, I will link my reaction to A Rose, as well as my reaction to How Could You Leave Us by NF, and as well as my life story video, a piece that I wrote, and it's my whole life story basically. So I'll link those 3 videos if y'all want to watch them after this.
Thing. It's all in the same family. Fuck it. Take it. Had I got to the hospital about 2 hours later, I would have died. My organs were shutting down. My liver, kidneys, everything. They were going to have to put me on dialysis. They didn't think I was going to make it. My bottom was going to be death. Within a month, I had relapsed and shot right back up to the same amount of pills that I was taking. I remember just walking around my house and thinking every single day, like, I'm going to fucking die. Like, I'm looking at my kids and I need to be here for this. Coming off of everything, I literally was up 24 hours a day for 3 weeks straight. And I mean, not sleeping, not even nodding off for a fucking minute. Like, I was literally just up, like, looking at the TV. I had to regain motor skills.
Yeah, you gotta relearn everything, cause like I started doing drugs at 16. I got clean when I was 30. So almost 15 years I spent in active addiction. So I had to relearn how to live life without being on something. And for the life of me, I could never ever even fathom how you could even enjoy life without being on something. Even if it was just smoking a blunt. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even fathom it. Like, it just seemed like a very boring, miserable life for me, an addict, to think about going bowling or to a movie or out to eat or whatever without at least smoking a blunt. You know what I mean? That was my thought process, and I had to change that. I did that by working the 12 steps of NA with a sponsor, Narcotics Anonymous. Um, there's also AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, CA, Cocaine Anonymous, GA, Gamblers Anonymous. I mean, it's all kinds. There's Celebrate Recovery, which is a faith-based recovery group, where they do everything. You can be addicted to sex, gambling, drugs, alcohol, relationships, food, whatever it may be, spending money, whatever it may be, and go to it. And every single one of those things are free. Free. So, I'm just saying.
Had to regain talking skills. I just couldn't believe that anybody could ever be naturally happy or naturally function or be just enjoying life in general without being on something. So I would say that to anybody,
See, we're meant to be together.
that it does get better, you know? It does.
You know, I got to the point where
Royce.
I couldn't even go to sleep without, if I tried to go to sleep without being drunk, I would shake and wake up in cold sweats.
Alright, another thing I'm going to teach y'all is the 3 worst drugs to come off of cold turkey that you do not ever, never want to come off cold turkey, because it could actually kill you to come off of them cold turkey if you're a full-blown addict alcoholic. Are number 1, alcohol. If you're a full-blown alcoholic, you're drinking every day. I mean, you know if you're an alcoholic or not. Only you can say whether or not you're an alcoholic. Only you can say whether or not you're an addict. I can't tell you you're an addict. I can't tell you you're an alcoholic. Only you can say that. You know what I'm saying? But you know if you are or not. So alcohol is one you can't just stop. It can literally kill you. The shakes he's talking about is called DTs. You'll hear it often referred to as DTs, which is delirium tremens. Two separate words, DELERIUM, delirium, which literally means mentally confused. And then tremens, TREMENS, which literally means tremble or to shake. So that's why you hear people say one of the DTs. That's delirium tremens. That's actually very common. That's very, 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 very common, and 99% of the time happens with alcoholics who try to quit cold turkey. You know what I mean? So that's alcohol is number one. Number two are benzodiazepines, which are, like I said earlier, Valium, Klonopin, Ativan, Xanax. Those four drugs right there are the four benzodiazepines. If you take those on a regular basis, daily, never, ever want to just stop taking them cold turkey. It can make you have seizures. It could kill you. And then the third one is heroin. If you do a lot of heroin and you just quit, you can have seizures, and it can make you very, very sick. You puke and things of that nature. You vomit, and you get very dehydrated. You could go into, I mean, it's just so much, y'all. You can go into hypovolemic shock. But though, especially those three, but I would say to anybody who does any type of drug on a regular daily basis, or on just a regular basis period, and you want to stop, you need to do it under medical supervision, whether that's at a rehab, whether you go and stay with someone who's in recovery, who knows what to look for, who can monitor you, whatever it may be. But you definitely need to have medical supervision if you're coming off of it, really, if you're coming off of anything cold turkey. But those three are the top ones: alcohol, benzodiazepines or benzos, heroin.
And my heart would speed up. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit. I know I'm addicted to alcohol, you know, and that's in 10 years it's just a guesstimation. That's just a guesstimation. It could be longer than that. But I'm definitely 100% a certified alcoholic. So what I used to do was I pour the water out the bottle and then fill it up with straight Patron silver.
That's what my big brother did, but he did that with vodka.
Fill the water bottle up with Patron silver and just go throughout my day sipping. People would think it was water, but it was Patron silver, and I would sip it all day. And by the end of my night, I probably have went through like 1.5 liters.
What do you think was the worst thing that happened to you while being drunk?
1.5 liters a day.
That's hard to say because everything happened to me while being drunk. All of the bad things you can think about. I went to jail for a year. I crashed a car. Almost killed myself. I mean, the list goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? Like I associated myself with the worst possible people that you can imagine. I had the worst fucking side bitches in the world. I mean, we can just go on and on, man. You know what I'm saying? All of the bad things that you do as an alcoholic, I did. You know?
Did you, was there ever any sort of serious conversation about your addiction with M post him being sober and pre you being sober?
me
No,
being sober.
I'm
You know what?
recording.
Yeah,
Get back.
because he
Say yeah, baby.
Because he beat
Say
you too,
yeah.
right? He's a little ahead of you, a couple
he's
years.
way ahead of me. He's I think he's going on. I know his sobriety birthday is 4/20,
Okay.
so it's coming up. I believe he's 8 years.
Okay.
I believe he's going on 8 years. But yeah, he's
Eminem got clean April the 20th, 2006. And I got clean. No. Is that right? Am I tripping? Now Royce got me all messed up. Or was it 2008? Now I gotta look it up. I think it might be 2008. Because I know Proof passed away, R.I.P., in 2006. Eminem, clean date. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, that's what I thought. So April 20th, 2008. So Eminem was celebrating 2008, 2018, 13 years of recovery. April the 20th, this month. Yay! Shout out to King Crooked, who recently, last month, celebrated 5 years sober. That's amazing. Not sure how long Royce has sober. Maybe he's supposed to tell us.
told me one day I was up at the studio and he was like, "Yo, I just want you to know, man, you know, like if you ever feel like you got a problem, you know, you can call me, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I know that." And he was like, "All right, cool." And it just stuck with me, man. It was like,
Because you didn't know where it even came from at the time.
what did he mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was he trying to say? You know what I'm saying? It was just like, man, it was like, I think he knew he was getting in my head too. And it was probably a few months later is when I called him. It was like, "Yo, I think it's time, man." And I called Marshall in tears. Like, "Yo, I'm done. No more drinking." You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Yo, my G, that's the realest shit you ever said to me, ever." I can always call him and talk to him. You know, when I first got sober, I needed to talk to him a lot. I needed somebody to talk to that understood this thing on my level, that could relate to every problem, everything that I had on my mind, that I had a story for, stuff that I usually would keep to myself out of embarrassment. I could say to him, and then he would.
All right, so Royce's sober date is September the 11th, 2012. He says one of the main reasons for his choice of sobriety was his son saying, "I love my dad. I think he's Superman, but I don't really know him." And that's addiction, alcoholism wrapped up into one. Like, we may be physically there, like if we're in active addiction, active alcoholism, we may be physically there, but we ain't there up here. You know what I'm saying? So Royce will celebrate 9 years clean this year on September 11th.
On my level, that could relate to every problem, everything that I had on my mind, that I had a story for, stuff that I usually would keep to myself out of embarrassment. I could say to him, and then he would have a story to match that. But it's probably something even worse. It's tough. It's tough.
That's one very important thing in recovery is surrounding yourself with other people in recovery. If you can't get out of your house for whatever reason, there are people online in recovery. There are recovery groups online. You know what I'm saying? So that is an extremely important part because, you know, it's important to know we're not alone and other people have done just as bad as we have or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Stuff that I usually would keep to myself out of embarrassment, I could say to him, and then he would have a story to match that. But it's probably something even worse. It's tough. It's tough. I don't want to sit here and say that it's easy. As easy as I made it look, it's not easy.
Nope.
You know, no major change in life is easy.
Nope.
It's always going to be tough. So it wasn't hard for me to decide that I'm going to do it. That was an easy decision because I was just tired.
Right.
You know, but actually pulling the trigger on it, yeah, it's tough.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Exactly.
Good days and bad days.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it's just like getting into the record industry is tough. You know, you decide you're going to do something and you're willing to make the sacrifices, you make the sacrifices. And
that's it. I just told somebody earlier on Twitter who had posted a tweet saying they were struggling with addiction. You know, I told them what I tell most people when they say that, you know, is you can do it. I believe in you. You just have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Keywords, whatever it takes to get and stay clean, sober, whatever you want to call it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Period. And that's what Royce is talking about. You got to make sacrifices. You know, you got to change the people you hang around. People, places, things. You have to change the people you hang around. You have to change the places you hang out. You have to change the certain things you do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, your whole life has to change.
whatever comes with it, comes with it. That's just life, you know?
Now, what about the other way? You know, when Marshall, Eminem was going through his drug addiction and so forth, did he ever reach out to you for help?
No, he didn't. He didn't. When he was going through his thing, we weren't talking. We weren't talking at that time, and I only heard about it kind of through the grapevine, and I never knew the seriousness of it until I got cool with him and he was able to tell me about it. So when he was actually going through it, I didn't realize how serious it was. I just got tired of it, I think that happens in life. I think a lot of people with addictions, that suffer from addiction, I think they reach a point where they get tired of it, and I think that
You get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
either ignore it,
Yep.
or they're so hurt by whatever is fueling it, or they're so traumatized that they don't understand it, they don't know it, maybe they don't have somebody to talk to.
Right.
It's different situations that people could be in, but I honestly think I'm just one of those people. If I'm not gonna listen to anybody, the least I can do is listen to myself. That's kind of like how I was. A lot of people told me they thought I should quit drinking. I didn't listen to any of them. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So if you're going to be that kind of person, the least you could do is listen to yourself, listen to your gut instincts. And one day, I was just tired of it. I just decided to stop. I made some phone calls to a few people. And I've been working this pretty much the steps ever since. Not even the steps, just I've been exercising my right one day at a time to never go anywhere near that shit again. And I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all.
Awesome.
You did it cold turkey? It was the flip of a light switch?
Cold turkey. It's never been one day that I thought of even considered going back.
Are you past the point of temptation?
He's blessed to be drinking that much quick cold turkey, and you know what I'm saying?
And I know being an addict never goes away, but are you past the point of where it's difficult to be around, meaning it's tempting?
I'm past that point. Yeah.
It's not tempting anymore.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Don't
You know why?
bother me
Because
either.
I'm having success with sobriety. Not even just success as far as my career, but success with the act of sobriety. I'm getting good feedback. People respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's making me happy. I'm so often thanking Paul, and Tracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tracy is like...
Tracy's like the backbone for people who don't know of everything that happens over there.
Tracy saved my life, bro. She saved my life. She was like, When I went home, when I finally got sober, I called Marshall. I initially called Marshall. I talked to him about it. I came home. They put me in this hospital. Tracy came and sat by my bedside like I was like I had just got shot up or something.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk about a moment where you find out really who your real friends really are, this is like way deeper than just being signed to a record label. This is like people treating you like family when they don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
See, I love that artists put themselves out there like that. It reminds us that they're humans too, and not to put them up on this big pedestal and worship another human being, because they're just like you and me. They have their own flaws, issues, sins, whatever you want to call it, that they have to deal with and work on. We all do. We all do. You know, my recovery has not been easy at all. Matter of fact, it's been one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Both of my brothers passed away during my recovery. My grandmother passed away during my recovery. My grandfather passed away during my recovery. It's just a lot. So, I'm just thinking, man. I keep closing my eyes and thinking back. I think about my big brother. You always think back, is there anything I could have done, I could have said, but don't do that. Don't beat yourself up like that. If you have a loved one who passed away from addiction, from alcoholism, first off, I'm so sorry. I know how you feel. But second off, there's, you need to remember, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And don't get it twisted. Nobody chooses to be an addict, an alcoholic. Who the hell would choose that? Yeah, I think I want to be an addict. I mean, come on. No. We take a few hits off a blunt for the first time, or take a little drink for the first time, or whatever. Just like the vast majority of people. And that's one bad thing. Well, there's a whole lot of bad things about addiction. But one thing about addiction, alcoholism, is you don't know whether or not you're an addict, alcoholic, unless you do it. So why even risk it? And that's what I teach my son. I've taught my son about every single drug there is, what it does to you, what it looks like. I mean, you name it. That's one reason I'm grateful that I'm a recovering addict. Because God forbid, if my son was to ever get caught up in that or whatever, I would know. You know what I'm saying? So for that, I am grateful. But I hope and I pray. That is my biggest fear, other than something other than losing him. That is my biggest fear, is that my son will become an addict, an alcoholic. So, yeah, y'all. This I enjoyed doing this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all learned something. I hope it helped someone. Let me know if you can relate down in the comments. If you got any questions for me, you can ask me down in the comments, or if you want to if you feel comfortable, if you want to share your story or share your experience with a loved one or whatever, you can let me know in the comments. I'm willing to answer any questions you may have, or talk to anybody who may be struggling. If you are struggling with addiction, alcoholism, no, you're not alone. There are people out there who understand, me being one. And yeah, The links to those 3 videos should be popping up if they hadn't already. Again, it's the reaction to A Rose by Eminem, my reaction to How Could You Leave Us by NF, and my life story. It's called Hardest Piece I've Written, So Can You by April G. So if y'all want to watch those, you can. Please like this video on your way out. Continue to pray for DMX's loved ones. Rest in peace, DMX. Rest in peace to anyone who's ever passed away from addiction, alcoholism, or related to it. Prayers to anyone who's ever lost anyone to addiction, alcoholism. Prayers to all those out there still struggling with addiction, alcoholism. I know what you're going through. I've been there. And I promise we can and do recover. I'm proof. Eminem's proof. Royce is proof. So, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't be scared to reach out. Alright. Anyway, comment below y'all's thoughts. Like this video on your way out. The links in the one we just watched with Eminem and Royce are in the description box. Y'all go show them some love, please. Please like this video on your way out. Please subscribe to my channel. And yeah, April G. Score. Peace out. Love y'all. And I'll see y'all in just a little bit. Peace out.